You got in your car this morning, turned a key, pressed a pedal, and moved 40 miles an hour without using a single muscle. 100,000 years ago, that same trip would have taken 2 full days of walking barefoot through territory that could kill you. No roads, no maps, no GPS, just the horizon and the hope that there was water on the other side. For 99% of human history, getting anywhere meant risking everything, and you had nothing to carry you there except your own 2 feet. Today, you fly across the planet and get annoyed if the Wi-Fi is slow. But for 300,000 years, every journey a human ever took happened at walking speed. That one limitation shaped everything. What you ate, who you married, and how much of the world you ever got to see. Let's look at your feet. You aren't the fastest creature on the savannah. A cheetah hits 70 mph, and a horse can sustain 30. But you are the best long-distance walker on Earth. Your feet have arches that act as springs, and your Achilles tendon stores and releases energy, so your muscles don't have to do all the work. You have 2 million sweat glands cooling you down, while every other animal overheats and has to stop. You're built to never stop. We know this because in 1978, we found your footprints in volcanic ash in Tanzania, 3.6 million years old, looking almost exactly like yours do today. Using nothing but that biological technology, your ancestors walked out of Africa 70,000 years ago. They didn't just wander, they networked. We find obsidian tools and seashells hundreds of miles from their source, because people were covering massive distances on purpose to trade and connect. But walking only works until you hit a wall. For hundreds of thousands of years, a river or a coastline was a dead end. Then, somehow, we did what no other land animal has ever done. We conquered the water. On the island of Flores, we found stone tools from 800,000 years ago. The weird part, that island has never been connected to the mainland. Even at the peak of the Ice Age, there was 12 miles of open ocean. Someone, nearly 1 million years ago, built a raft and crossed it.
How did they do this?
By 65,000 years ago, humans were crossing 60 miles of open sea to reach Australia, sailing toward land they couldn't even see. The Polynesians took this to an insane level 3,000 years ago, crossing the Pacific in double-hulled canoes. They didn't have maps or compasses. They read the stars, the direction of ocean swells, and the color of clouds to find islands 2,500 miles away. They turned the world's biggest barrier into a land was conquered, water was conquered, but we still had a weight problem. Your body can only carry about 60 pounds before it starts breaking down. For most of history, you could only move what you could carry. So we started cheating. First, we dragged things on hides. We can still see the wear marks on ancient leather. Then, we invented the travois, 2 poles in a V-shape that let one person move 100 pounds. But the real breakthrough was a partnership. 15,000 years ago, we teamed up with dogs to pull sleds. Then, 5,500 years ago on the Kazakhstan steppes, we met the horse. We know this because we found horse teeth worn down by bits and pottery that still smells like mare's milk. In a single generation, the world got 8 times smaller. Suddenly, you could cover in days what used to take weeks. Here is the thing that makes no sense. Humans crossed every ocean on Earth before anyone invented the wheel. The oldest wheel we've found is only 5,200 years old. Boats go back at least 10,000 years, and we reached Australia 65,000 years before that. The wheel didn't even start as transportation. It was a pottery disc. When we finally flipped it on its side, it was slow and heavy. It wasn't until the spoked wheel arrived around 2000 BC that we got speed and cargo at the same time. Once you had wheels, you needed roads, the first paved ones appearing in around 4000 BC. The wheel, the horse, and the road, that's the combination that built every civilization you've ever heard of. You sit in a metal box today, doing 70 on a highway, and you call it a commute. You're irritated if a car takes 5 minutes to arrive at your door. But you are the descendant of people who walked 15,000 miles across continents. They couldn't name to reach places they'd never seen. They did it because staying still meant dying. We solved the problem of distance so completely that we forgot it was ever a problem. Every airport and train track exists because 300,000 years ago, someone looked at the horizon and just started walking. They didn't know where they were going, but they went anyway.